Earlier this year, the Bullet Club passed 10 years old, and it's certainly been an interesting journey. With its convoluted history of members, offshoot groups, and even a few cancelled individuals in its past, in a way, it's the MCU of wrestling at this point, which you can take one of two ways depending on if you're bored of Marvel yet or not. The Bullet Club was a cult favourite group who achieved enough mainstream appeal to fill an arena of 11,000 fans, while being on the shelves of Hot Topic. Hot Topic is not punk rock! With that in mind, here's a few facts and hopefully interesting trivia notes about the Bullet Club. If you know any that I've missed, please share them in the comments. You might be wondering, why this subject and why now? Well, two reasons to be honest with you. I've already made 2 Bullet Club videos this year, and I didn't want to make another list of potential members. And 2, this video is dedicated to all of you who want a break from talk of CM Punk, just for a little while. As I noted, the Bullet Club is 10 years old, which is actually longer than WCW, Nitro and Thunder lasted combined. Both have had their share of offshoot groups, with the NWO having the Wolfpack, the unofficially named B-Team, the 2000 version sometimes called Silver, and NWO Japan, some of which had different and confusing names, such as the original group becoming the Black and White or Hollywood. The LWO doesn't count, by the way, as it was a separate group with no real connection thought up by Jason Hervey. TNA's copyright-free version, The Band, doesn't count either, despite including Scott Hall, Kevin Nash and Sean Waltman, mostly because it was shit. That one might as well have included the Nasty Boys, who were weirdly also in TNA around the same time. BC has also had more spin-offs and reboots than Cheers, and arguably a more eclectic group. At present, there's the main Bullet Club for fans still watching New Japan, the House of Torture for the emos, the Rogue Army for the Aussies, the War Dogs for the Young Guys, ABC, which is the Impact group of Ace Austin and Chris Bay, Gold for the Jay White and the Electric Mayhem fans, and you could possibly include the Elite in AEW today, as they were technically an offshoot of the Bullet Club despite not being connected for a few years. Past spin-offs include Bullet Club Latin America in CMLL, but the non-union Mexican equivalent didn't seem to last that long. Given how Bullet Club lasted longer, it probably shouldn't be a surprise that it's had far more members and alumni than the NWO did. Only counting full-time wrestlers, the NWO had a total of 34 members over its life, and to date, Bullet Club has had 51, again not including part-timers or managers. BC is obviously still going, so this number will likely go even higher. One thing that the NWO didn't do as well as Bullet Club, by far, is expand into other companies. Bullet Club has had an official presence not just in New Japan, but AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, and if we're including the Elite, you could also argue that the OC in WWE counts too, given that 3 of the 4 members were BC originals, with AJ Styles even being a former leader. NWO also had a WWE version that debuted in February 2002, and died a death by July, and weirdly, trailed off after Shawn Michaels joined it. NWO did have their own parody version in ECW's Blue World Order, consisting of Big Stevie Cool, The Blue Guy, and Hollywood Nova. As best I can tell, there are only 2 overlapping members of both groups. That would be Scott Norton and Jeff Jarrett. We have an expression in my part of the world for somebody who turns up everywhere, and that very much applies to Jeff Jarrett, who gets where water went. Granted, neither were in the Bullet Club for long, and Jeff Jarrett felt more like a troll move, given how people were sick of him in those years. Not me, Jeff. I've talked about that on this channel before. But it is still interesting to see some form of overlap between the 2 groups. For what it's worth, original NWO members Scott Hall, Kevin Nash and Sean Waltman have all expressed endorsement of the Bullet Club, and didn't have an issue with their famous Too Sweet sign being used. Waltman even said in an October 2023 interview that he was flattered by it, and it took no money out of his pocket, while he and also Hall have even been pictured with the Young Bucks doing the Too Sweet sign that they famously received a cease and desist from WWE for doing. On Waltman's podcast not long after said legal letter, Kevin Nash even noted that the Bullet Club doing that sign keeps the memory of the NWO alive, later giving an example: if you're the Rolling Stones and Pearl Jam wants to cover Satisfaction, I don't think I've got a problem with it. It'd be one thing if these guys were jabrones, but these are young, talented guys that are basically emulating the thing you did. I already talked about overlapping members, but did you know that the Bullet Club for a while had the son of an NWO OG as a member? Cody Hall, the son of Scott, was at one time Bullet Club member. Looking at his son's wrestling career, and actually seeing him wrestle live a few times, as recently as 2019, Cody is somewhat different from his father in many ways. Far beyond his Razor Ramon days, Scott Hall oozed machismo, but Cody sort of oozes ambivalence. In a curious story I found, Cody was in 2020 signed to MLW for a single day before being released. The reason for this hasn't been made public, but MLW owner Court Bauer confirmed at the time that he had signed, stating that he, quote, couldn't move forward, whatever that means. A lot of Cody's perceived ambivalence might stem from a serious neck injury that he suffered working for New Japan in 2016, an injury that Kevin Nash claimed on his podcast had, quote, soured him on wrestling. Looking into Hall's career, he spent time training at the New Japan Dojo, which is notorious for its grueling atmosphere, and anyone who gets through that is worthy of respect. All of this to say that Cody is somewhat a footnote as a Bullet Club member, but he's far from the only one. On February 11th, 2017, Frankie Kazarian would join the Adam Cole-led version of the group in Ring of Honor. Or would he? Kazarian's joining came while betraying his longtime friend and tag team partner, Christopher Daniels, who is set to challenge Cole for the Ring of Honor World Championship at the upcoming 15th anniversary show. Daniels, who was at the time 24 years into his career, had worked for companies all over the world and was still yet to accomplish his goal to win a world championship in a major US promotion. This would end on March 10th, when Kazarian would actually reveal that he had swerved the Bullet Club by helping Daniels achieve his dream, getting one over on Adam Cole and the Bullet Club in the process. Christopher Daniels' world title reign wouldn't last that long though, as on June 23rd, Cody would bring the belt back to the Bullet Club, achieving his first of 2 major world titles so far. The second, by the way, was his NWA World Championship that he won at All In the following year. Kazarian actually has another rather dubious link to the Bullet Club, if you consider AEW's Elite to be a spin-off. In 2021, having lost to the Young Bucks in a match that caused his SCU team with Christopher Daniels to be disbanded, he took on the role of the Elite Hunter, a notably bad gimmick, which mainly involved him running in and chasing Elite members away when they tried to cheat in matches, seldom able to hunt or even catch any Elite members successfully. He isn't the only wrestler to brand himself as a one-man army against the Bullet Club though, as in 2014, former WWE star Yoshitatsu would arrive in New Japan, proclaiming himself to be the Bullet Club Hunter. This would be halted in its steps because of a neck injury that Yoshi would suffer after taking the Styles Clash wrong, a move in which the man taking it has to lean their head backwards instead of what a wrestler would intuitively do when taking a move, which is to tuck their head forwards. Yoshi would return in 2016, forming the Hunter Club, which weirdly included as members of all people Billy Gunn and Captain New Japan. The less said about the latter, and his turn to the darkness as the Bone Soldier, the better. One more that I'll share is a current Bullet Club member who was actually an honorary member years earlier, even before he was ever in New Japan. Unofficially, by the way. Recent Bullet Club addition Gabriel Kidd was one of the more memorable roster members of What Culture Pro Wrestling that later became Defiant Wrestling, having had a long losing streak, which he overcame by pinning of all people Cody Rhodes for their Internet Championship. Gabriel was very much a popular wrestler in that company, and when Bullet Club members Adam Cole and the Young Bucks needed an extra tag team partner to face WCPW's top heels The Prestige, led by current Impact star Joe Hendry, Kidd was put in the match, which occurred on March 21st, 2017. Gabriel even got to walk to the ring with the Bullet Club, wearing their logo, and was referred to as an honorary member, though Cole and the Bucks looked none too happy to have him on their team. Kidd would eventually take the loss on that night, getting pinned by future Gallus member Joe Coffey. In 2019, while working for Revolution Pro Wrestling, Kidd would catch the eye of Katsuyori Shibata and would be invited to enter the New Japan Dojo system. He would be based at the LA Dojo under the tutelage of Shibata. Come June 2023 at Dominion, Kidd and fellow LA Dojo graduate Alex Coughlin would join the Bullet Club for real this time, now led by David Finlay. One thing, as an on and off New Japan viewer, I've always wondered, is how did Bad Luck Fale last as long as he did in a company so respected for its work rate? To put it kindly, one of these is not like the others. Fale is the only surviving original Bullet Club member, having been brought in right at the start as the bodyguard of the original leader Prince Devitt, known these days as Finn Balor. It's still crazy, in a way, after all these years, that Fale is still going in the faction today. US company Chikara for a while had a wrestler called the Latvian Proud Oak, played, by the way, by R.D. Evans, who notably quit WWE as a writer after penning a Hall of Fame speech for Bret Hart that got him in hot water for mentioning Vince McMahon. At least in the time I've been watching New Japan, the Proud Oak resembled an actual tree in the ring less convincingly than Bad Luck Fale. If I'm honest, maybe I'm being slightly bitter about the otherwise excellent 2018 G1 Climax, where he and Tama Tonga seemingly attempted to ruin the tournament by competing over who could achieve the worst DQ finish. To be fair to Fale, one reason that he's endured, as I understand it, has been his efforts in acting as a gateway of sorts for many Australia and New Zealand based wrestlers to make it to New Japan through the Fale Dojo. And despite my mockery, he deserves a ton of credit for that. These days, Bullet Club has somewhat of a rebuild movement going on, having taken on a new leader and 12 new members in 2023 as of late November. Many of those new members are fairly recent dojo graduates, like Gabriel Kidd, Alex Coughlin and Clark Connors, while Drilla Maloney comes from the company's relationship with British promotion RevPro. At the time of me making this video, including the US versions, there are 25 current members, and there are many, many accomplished members that I haven't even mentioned in this video. Thank you for watching yet another wrestling channel. If you enjoyed this, please consider commenting, liking or subscribing.